Hey guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope that you had a really fun weekend. I thought to kick off the week I would sit down and film a purchase or pass video because I think the last time I filmed one of these videos was a few weeks ago, and I just kind of felt like there was a little bit of a lull in new releases, and then all of a sudden there were so many new holiday collections either being released or announced, and I wanted to sit down and chat with you guys. So to narrow it down, I'm just going to focus on eyeshadow palettes and face palettes today. So I think I have 8 or 9 different palettes to chat about, and I'll let you know if I'll be purchasing them or passing on them, and I would love to hear your thoughts. So let me know in the comments below what you think about these products or really any new releases. And if you like these videos, I'll link a playlist in the description box below that Samantha March created with a bunch of different videos like this from creators. So let's jump into it and chat about the products. Okay, so let me kick it off with the palettes that I am planning on purchasing. I have 3 different palettes that I'm pretty certain I'm going to grab unless I change my mind. But the first one is the Urban Decay Elements eyeshadow palette. This one is going to retail for $52. It's going to be available on September 8th at QVC and then September 10th at Urban Decay's website. As far as I know from what I've seen online, it does not look like it's going to be an Ulta or Sephora palette, but that could obviously change, so I'll definitely keep you posted. When I first saw this palette, it reminded me of the Urban Decay Kristen Leanne palette, the colorful one that they released, and then it kind of reminded me of the Heavy Metals palette, and I did read some comments from people saying it reminds them of the Born to Run palette. The Born to Run palette in general is very neutral. There are a couple of colorful shades in it, so I do think they would work really well together. I think if you have the Urban Decay Kristen Leanne palette, you might not necessarily need this one, but at the same time, I don't know, because I haven't seen a lot of swatches of this palette. They say that there are 18 new shades, including mattes, holographics, and metallics. It does look to be a mainly metallic palette. It only looks like there are a couple of matte shadows in there, so if you are mostly into matte shadows, you're probably going to want to skip over this palette, but I'm mainly into metallic shadows these days. I wear shimmer shadows in the crease all the time. I usually take one color and blend it all over the lid and just blend it into the crease, which is what I pretty much did today, but I did layer some other colors on top just to add like some fun different, like just dimension to the look. That one is definitely on my radar. It looks like one of the most beautiful holiday palettes that I've seen so far, and it just looks interesting to me. So what do you guys think of that palette? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Okay, the next palette that I definitely want to grab is from e.l.f, and I was really excited to see that they are releasing a new eyeshadow palette. I've been saying for a while that I want to see more palettes from them. They do a lot of those like sleek 10-pan palettes, but that formula is not my personal favorite. I do enjoy it, but I think a lot of their other formulas are even better than that one. So this one is their Opposites Attract eyeshadow palette, which retails for $14. It's going to be available on September 5th, which I actually believe is tomorrow. And there are 18 shadows in this palette. So the only pictures that I've seen of this palette are like the regular photos that they include online or like a blurry photo. So I can't get a good feel for the palette. I want to see more of it. I want to see swatches. I want to see it in action, but I'm definitely curious about the formula because e.l.f. doesn't tend to stick to one formula. They have so many different eyeshadows on their website, and some are hits and some are misses, but they do switch up the formula a lot, and some of the formulas are really, really good. I just enjoy e.l.f., and I think $14 is a good price point for that many shades in one palette. A bunch of you guys were asking me if I was planning on picking up the Makeup Revolution Emily Noel collaboration, and I am so excited for Emily. She is one of my favorite YouTubers. I just think she is so unproblematic, so genuine. She's so down to earth, and she's somebody that I can actually relate to on YouTube as far as like bigger YouTubers. I watch a lot of smaller YouTubers. I watch a lot of people who are very relatable, obviously, but I think Emily Noel has just stayed the same over all these years, and I appreciate her. I think she is so underrated, so undervalued, and I just appreciate everything about her and her channel. If you guys did not hear, both of these palettes are available now at Ulta. I'm a little bit late to the game with talking about these, but she created 2 different palettes. The first one is the Needs palette, which is kind of like a multitasking palette with different neutrals in it. So you get face products, I should say cheek products, and also eye products, and obviously you can use some of them interchangeably, but that's going to be a great option for you if you want everything in one staple palette that you can either travel with, or if you don't go, if you don't want too many choices and you just want a very basic palette with your essential products, that's going to be a great option for you. The other palette that she created is the one that I'm really excited about, and that one is the Wants palette. That retails for $20, and it comes with 24 different matte, satin, and shimmer, I was going to say simmer, shimmer shadows inside, but I'm definitely grabbing it just because I want to support Emily, and the colors are beautiful. She did such a great job. It's not a typical palette that you see a lot of times. It definitely screams Emily to me. I watch her videos, so I know what type of shadows she loves, and I tend to reach for a lot of very similar colors, so I'm really excited to grab it. The greens look beautiful, the berries look beautiful. So there's one collection that I'm kind of on the fence about. I don't know if I'll grab it or not, and it is from Too Faced, and Too Faced is expanding their Peaches and Cream collection. And I know people love to hate on Too Faced. They love to hate on the Peaches and Cream collection, and I get it. They have been milking that Peaches and Cream collection, but they haven't been milking it as much as Urban Decay is milking their Naked collection. I will say that. But, you know, I really like the Peaches and Cream collection. I know a lot of people are over it, they're sick of it, but honestly, the Peaches and Cream products that I've tried, I love. They are releasing a new Sugar Peach Wet and Dry Eye and Face Palette. So this is going to retail for $42, and it comes with 4 different face products. Now, to be completely honest with you, when I originally saw the photos of this, I was like, I don't need that. I'm just going to skip over that. And then I saw a real photo that somebody took when they got it in the mail, and it looks so beautiful. If you guys know me, you know that I'm into shimmery or glowy cheek products. I like blushes that almost look like they could be highlighters. Like, I want them to be intensely glowy. The only thing that's holding me back about this palette is that it's a palette, and face palettes, there's some weird like subconscious part of me that does not reach for face palettes as much as I think I'm going to, no matter how much I love it. If the face products or the cheek products come in palette form, it's automatically going to be used less than any other product in my collection, which is weird. I know it is. I don't know what it is. I just discovered that I do not reach for cheek palettes as much as I reach for single products. And I don't know if it's because they're bulky, they're hard to store, I mix them up with my eyeshadow palettes. I honestly don't know what it is, but this palette is causing me to reconsider because it looks really beautiful. $42 does seem like a pretty good price when you break it down. Like, if you divide it by 4, that's a great deal for a high-end cheek product, and it's on my list, as well as a couple of other products from the collection. I know we're talking about eyeshadow palettes and face palettes. I'll skip the peach scrub and I'll skip the lipsticks just because I honestly have enough lipsticks in my collection right now that I don't need to add more. But the peach lip balm and the cheek palette are calling my name. Papa Don't Peach from the Peaches collection is like my favorite blush of all time. So if these are anything like that, I think they're going to be mine. Okay, let's move on to products that I'm not going to buy. I have 4 different palettes that I'm going to pass on, and the first palette was actually something I was going to include in my possibly list because it does look like a really pretty palette, and at first I was like, I'm going to grab it. I really want that palette, and then I had to talk myself out of it because I just don't need it. Even as much as I want it, as much as I love it, I know that I don't need it. Urban Decay is releasing a Naked Cherry palette. They have not announced a release date or a price, but I'm assuming it's going to be $54 because that is the price of their other Naked palettes. And I actually heard about this palette last week when Elle actually created a video on this palette. I will link her video and her channel in the description box below, but I really enjoy her channel. She is really beautiful. She creates so many like striking looks that I just love so much, and I always click on her videos to see what eyeshadow look she created that day. But on top of that, she has a lot of really good content and a lot of really interesting video topics. I just discovered her fairly recently, but I definitely recommend her channel. She's really great. So when she filmed a video about this palette, I was really curious. She did a lot of good research and just chatted about the palette, and I thought it looked really beautiful, but Urban Decay actually confirmed it today and released additional photos, and it looks like such a pretty palette. I feel like they're a little bit late to the game with this palette. I think Urban Decay in general has been a little bit late to the game. The Naked Heat was late to the game. This palette's late to the game. And I know a lot of people are going to love this palette, and I think it's really gorgeous, but I just wish they had done it a little bit earlier. It kind of looks like a cross between the Back Talk palette and the Aphrodisiac palette that they just released. It reminds me a lot of that palette, and I kind of feel like the Aphrodisiac palette is like the mini version of this palette. So they kind of released them out of order, at least in my personal opinion. But for me personally, the last like 4 or 5 shades in this palette really catch my eye. They look so beautiful, and I know that I would get a ton of use out of them. They are the main shadows in the palette that I would personally reach for. But the first like 6 or 7 shadows, they're beautiful, and I think that you can create a lot of different looks using those and the darker shadows, but they're just not something I need in my collection. I have a lot of palettes like this. It honestly kind of reminds me of the Too Faced Just Peachy Mattes palette, except there are shimmer or metallic shadows. And then it also reminds me of Modern Renaissance. I think that I've seen this palette a lot before. I mean, I know a lot of people like the Modern Renaissance colors, but they don't like Anastasia's formula. So if that's you, this actually might be a really good alternative. I definitely think there's a market for it, but at the same time, I just feel like they're a little bit late to the game. Like, I already have palettes like this in my collection. So I personally will be skipping on that, but I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Okay, so Tarte is releasing their Blush Book 4. This retails for $44. It's available now on Tarte's website. I don't know if it's coming to Ulta and Sephora stores because I haven't seen anything about it online, but it is a $150 value. It comes with 10 different products. You get 8 blushes, 1 bronzer, and 1 highlighter. Now, I definitely don't think this is a bad option. If you like the Tarte Amazonian Clay blushes, this might actually be a great option for you. They generally release these palettes every holiday season. I actually have the one from last year and I did enjoy it, but I kind of regret buying it, to be honest with you guys, because I don't get as much use out of it as I would like to. I think, again, it's just that weird subconscious part of my mind that does not reach for blush palettes or cheek palettes. There are just so many options that I don't tend to grab that palette. I just grab one singular blush, but I think it is a great option if you like the Amazonian Clay blushes or you don't have a large blush collection. This might be worth grabbing. In my experience, the blush formula is the same as their single blushes, but I know that's not always the case. So I would definitely recommend reading the reviews on this palette before you grab it, because I know in the past they've done like blush collections and the palettes are definitely a different formula than their single Amazonian Clay blushes. I love the Amazonian Clay blushes. I think they're one of my favorite high-end blushes because they go on and they stay in place really well throughout the day, which can be a struggle for those of us with oily skin or just in general. I think a lot of blushes tend to fade throughout the day. So if you like the palette, if it appeals to you, I don't think it's a bad value at all. I just know that I don't need it. I won't get enough use out of it. Okay, let's talk about the Becca Volcano Goddess palette. This one retails for $46. It's available now at Ulta.com and it is a limited edition palette. So this one comes with 12 different matte, shimmer, and metallic shadows. Their whole claim with this palette is that it's formulated and energized with a natural mineral crystal formulated or found in volcanoes. Maybe that is true. I don't know for sure, but that is not a selling point for me. Is that a selling point for you guys? Like, sometimes when they market products, not Becca, but just like makeup companies in general, I'm honestly like, is that really a selling point? Like, is somebody actually going to pick up that palette because it is made with a crystal that's formed in volcanoes? I don't know. I just think it's kind of funny. It's a little bit extra, but this palette is pretty. It's definitely different from other Becca palettes that I've seen in the past. Becca palettes tend to be very neutral. They tend to be very basic because I think in general, Becca is more of a neutral brand. They have a lot of gorgeous products. I personally love Becca for their blushes and their highlighters and their bronzers. Like, their cheek products are my favorite, but I don't find that Becca eyeshadows are my favorite. I do have 2 different Becca palettes in my collection, and I like them, but to be completely honest with you, I do not reach for them over a lot of other palettes in my collection. I don't necessarily get super excited about their eyeshadow palette releases. They don't do anything too interesting, too unique, and the formula isn't anything mind-blowing in my opinion. I will say that this palette is definitely different from what I'm used to seeing from them. There are some bolder shades. There are some really gorgeous colors in here. There are really only like 2 or 3 shades that are really grabbing my attention, like the really pretty gold, the blue, maybe like that greenish color, but in general, I think I have a lot of these colors in my collection, so I will be skipping on that one. And the last product that I want to talk about is from Bare Minerals. It is their Aurora Lights eyeshadow palette, which retails for $48. It is available in select Ulta stores and also at Ulta.com. So this palette is a holiday release. It comes with 18 different shadows, and it looks really pretty. I was actually kind of surprised because when I clicked on the comments on the Instagram or on Trend Mood's Instagram page, a lot of people were just like not into this palette, and I get it because it's not going to be for everybody, but I think you can at least appreciate that it's a little bit different than all of the other palettes that are being released right now. It looks like a cooler toned palette, and there are a lot of pretty colors in here, and you have to remember who's releasing this palette. Like, it's Bare Minerals. You have to think about their core demographic, and they tend to be a very neutral brand. They don't do anything too colorful or too out of the box, I guess, when it comes to eyeshadows. So for Bare Minerals, I actually think that this is a step out of the box. In general, this is going to be for those of you that are into cooler toned, more subtle, muted, neutral colors with a few pops of color. Bare Minerals isn't a brand that I'm super drawn to. I don't really get excited about their products. Like I said, I've tried their face products in the past and I think I had an allergic reaction to them, but their eyeshadow palettes haven't really been anything super eye-catching for me personally, but this is one that did kind of catch my eye. I just don't think I need it because I do have a lot of these colors in my collection already. But let me know what you guys think about this palette in the comments below, because I do think there are going to be people out there who enjoy it, who like it. So those are all the new makeup releases that I have to chat about today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you let me know in the comments below which products you plan on purchasing, which ones you'll be skipping over, because I would love to chat with you guys in the comments below. But I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow with a new video. Bye.